Have you ever wondered why some parents are able to inspire their children to thrive while others focus on simply helping them figure things out? Have you wondered why some parents raise responsible children and others raise children who seem not to be knowing the left from their right? This For this podcast, we're going to talk about parenting styles. And I know you are aware of the four parenting styles, that is authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and the third one, which is hands off. But I would want to narrow this into three parenting styles. And I have borrowed this from the three leadership styles. So we are going to talk about transformative parenting, we are going to talk about transactional parenting, and we are going to talk about laissez faire kind of parenting. So transformative, transactional, and laissez faire kind of parenting. So I would want us to begin with transformative parenting, also called transformational parenting. So, what is it? What are some of the key traits of a transformative parent? Examples and the benefits, and how can you who is watching, who is a parent to a teenager, a parent to a Gen Alpha or a Gen Z, how can you employ this in your parenting style? And I want, as we go through this conversation, you are able to pick and see what you would want to do better. So, to begin with, transformational or transformative parenting is defined by a parenting style where the parent inspires, motivates, and nurtures growth. So, the parent is able to inspire. You're able to inspire your child, you're able to motivate them, but also you're able to nurture them to grow. Why it is important to inspire? It's because you want to be with this teenager or this child for long enough. And as I work and walk with teenagers and young adults, there are parents who complain that I have this, 27-year-old boy, instead of a man, I have this 27-year-old boy who is at home, doesn't pay rent, just eats my food and everything. And they are trying to wonder and think, how can I change this at this stage? But I'm reminded of a Swahili proverb that says, samaki mkunje angali mbichi. And the whole essence of this is that for you who is a parent to a teenager or a child and just a young adult, that you can pick some of these lessons. And I know it could be hard for you to inculcate those lessons when it is too late, but as again the Englishman would say, better late than never. So a transformative parent is one that inspires, motivates, and nurtures growth. Key traits of a transformative parent: one is one who is able to be a role model. And it is important to note that children learn better by observing than what we tell them. So children learn better by observing rather than what you tell them. So for instance, if I want to help my kid learn about honesty and integrity, but when I am driving on the road, they're able to see me cut corners, they're able to see me steal lanes and everything, then I should just know my child will still go in an exam room and try to write more Kenyas because I have modeled what I am, what I'm not. I have modeled what is separate from what I say, and that's why it is important as a parent not to drink wine and preach water, or preach wine and drink water. I would want you to be able to be a role model. And this is not a call for perfectionism. This is a call for you as a parent to be intentional and see, what am I modeling to this young girl? What am I modeling to this young boy? How do I treat their mom if their mom is present? How do I treat their father if their father is present? Because what I do then, they are able to pick that, and they will be able to go ahead and employ that. They will be able to showcase that within the interpersonal relationship. So a transformative parent, number one, they are a role model. And I step back and ask, what are you modeling as a parent? But number two is the place of emotional connection. And I have said over and over on this podcast that children and young adults and teenagers are able to connect with our hearts more than they're able to connect with our wallets. So what does that mean? Are you able to have a connection with your child? Can they be able to know, I can speak to mom when I am going through something? Or is mom a safe space? Is dad a safe space that I'm able to share my feelings and my thoughts with them? So the place of having, building emotional connection. How do you do this? You are able to listen to more than the words they share. You're able to observe. You're able to look at the nonverbals, and that can help you to build an emotional connection. But number two is the place of individualized support. Why this is important? It's because all of us are not raised by the same parents. All of us, like for me, we are six siblings. We were not raised by the same parent. Why that is important is because if my eldest was born to my parents when they are probably in their early 20s or mid 20s, and then I come when they are in their early 30s or mid 30s, then that means those are two different people. The things they were grappling with in their early 20s as parents or mid 20s as parents is not what they are grappling with in their early or mid 30s. And that's why it is important for parents to individualize your child's support. Don't say, this is how I handled Jaden, so Jen should also just toe the line. No, every child is unique. They have a unique genetic makeup. They have different personalities, and it is important for us as parents to be able to respond to the uniqueness of them. Some are slow, some will want, some are feelers, others are thinkers, others are intuitive, others are sensing, and others are extroverted, others introverted. It is you to individualize your support. And there are kids that will present with probably what people call ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And it's just that they are outgoing. And at times we do not give them the attention that it takes. Others are withdrawn. Others are introverted. We need to see, how can we support them? How can we not blame them? How can we not label them and say, this one is always like this? So individualized support. But as well, another attribute or a trait of a transformative parent is one who encourages critical thinking. And by this we say, allow your kid to face some challenges and be able to go through them by themselves. Have them to brainstorm solutions. Not be the one who is always bailing them out, them who is coming to rescue them every other time. For instance, if you give them pocket money, probably they are a grade 10, and then you give them 3,000 shillings and you have them break down how that looks like for the entire term, and then by the time it's the fourth week, they tell you know what, mom, I have finished, or my pocket money is depleted. Most parents will be like, of course, scold them and then send money. What if you tell them, I'm giving you a week so that I look for that money? What that helps them is in future they'll learn how to use money effectively. So encouraging critical thinking. So we have said the traits of a transformative parent: one, they are role models; two, they are able to foster emotional connection with their kids; but number three, they're able to have individualized support for their kids. Not all the six of us as siblings are the same. We are unique. My elder brother's needs are different from my our last born's needs, and as a parent you have to individualize your support for your kids. So, for instance, a parent who is able to see a child make mistake and as opportunity for them to learn. Let them make mistakes. Don't scold them. If you tell them to learn how to wash dishes and they do it the other wrong way, don't scold them. It's an opportunity for them to learn. What then are the benefits of a transformative parent or being a transformative parent? One, you're able to build resilience. We can all agree that we are living in a VUCA world. And a VUCA world, I mean one that is volatile, one that is uncertain, one that is complex, but one that is ambiguous. That you could be probably having an opportunity to buy your kid whatever they can have. You can take them to the best of schools, but at times there are things that change in this volatile world. Like right now there's the war in Iran and Iraq, and probably people who are in the fuel industry may face some challenges here and there. I remember when the year began, we had the Trump effect, and we had parents lose jobs who are having very good jobs in the NGO world. They lost it, and some had to degrade their to downgrade the type of house they live in, the type of school they have taken their kids. And if you are a transformative parent, then you have built your child's resilience. You're able to tell them, you know what, the reason why I'm moving from C1 school to this other school, it's because of this and this. And your kid won't feel like they have been let down because you have modeled that. So one, you're able to build resilience, but as well, you're able to build emotional intelligence. You remember that life is all about relationships, how we're able to relate with other people. And we have had people say, you know what, Gen Zs and Gen Alphas don't have people skills, but people skills are important. How someone grows in a career, how someone stays in a marriage, how someone grows in a job, even in a, it's about relationship. How are they able to keep interpersonal relationship without emotional intelligence, being aware of the emotions, managing the emotions, and regulating the emotions, not bleeding on people who did not hurt them? That is the essence of emotional intelligence. Are they able to be angry but also be angry under control? Are they able to be happy and be happy under control? That is what emotional intelligence looks like. But the third benefit for your child is them being able to have long-term character. Long-term character is important because as a parent, you want to be with your kid all over. They will move, they will go to Massachusetts University, they will go to Harvard, they will go to University of Pretoria, they will go to University of Nairobi. You won't be there, but you want their character to be part of them, their identity to be formed, such that when you are not present, you are not worried, what is my son doing? Like now, my parent shouldn't be worried where I stay, what do I do? Because they know they have build character inside of me. And I hope that as you grow, as you nurture your child from the various stages of life, that they're able to have long-term character, that when they are grown-ups, they won't disappoint you. So I feel like that is something we can all work towards. So the challenge here, it requires you to be consistent, for you to be available, and for you to look at teachable moments. There are always teachable moments that life will give us as parents. Like now, we're just from the half term. I hope you spend time with your kid and you realize there are teachable moments that you are able to sit down with them and tell them, you know what, this is wrong. When they shout at their sibling, you tell them, no, you would have communicated better. But remember, you can't correct that if you're also one of the shouters in the house. So I hope that you are able to take time and be able to invest in you being a transformational or a transformative parent. We'll move to the second type of parenting for this particular session, and that is transactional parenting. And I have said this, I have borrowed from the leadership styles. A transactional leader, to begin with, is, for instance, our politicians who would say, give me votes and in turn, I will build you a road. Or give me votes and in turn, I will give you each 500 bob if you come to my rally. You know, that is transactional. We are transacting. And some parents have employed this as part of their parenting style. So what is transactional parenting? So transactional parenting is based on rules, based on rewards, but also on consequence. That if you do this, I'll do this. And I know it is good for some stage in terms of you helping your kid know the pros and cons, know that the life has consequences when you're building rules and laws with them. But if that is the only way you are doing life with them, then they will just know, I do not have to have a relationship with my parent. So long as we transact well, so long as I do cleaning well. The other day I was going through social media and Facebook for this matter, and there was this parent who was just airing out and saying, you know what, do you parents get to a point where your kids don't talk to you, but they are doing whatever is supposed to be done? The dishes are clean, food is there, but then we are not talking. They just wake up, do their thing. When I call them for food, they will come pick food and go, but we are not talking. And it looks like that is transactional. Rules are done, everything is clean, chores are done, but then you do not have a relationship. That is not what you want as a parent. So this is a parenting that is based on rules, rewards, and consequences. The trait here is that there are very clear boundaries, which is good, yes. But again, if the boundaries are just clear and we are not able to understand why those boundaries are there, then it brings us to a troublesome place. So clear boundaries and it's also based on discipline. And we were raised and brought up with a lot of discipline. If you do this, you just know your beating is here. If you come home late, you know this will befall you. And it was good. But does that mean we build very good relationship with our parents? Probably not. But also it's built on accountability. Accountability that your other siblings will be accountable for you. And that's why of course, it's now the last boss who will be like, nitaambia mom, I will tell mom you did this. And it looks like everyone is living in fear. Everyone lives in that house like there's a CCTV watching them wherever they are. And it looks very good. It looks like everyone is towing the line. Everyone is obeying the rules. But is that what you want? Do you just want to have things done? It's like at times how people behave with the correctional systems in Kenya. That I do not have to have a relationship with the police so long as I do my part. For instance, if they get me on the wrong, I give them money and then I move. That is transactional. We do not have a relationship. So it looks like if you finish your homework, you get screen time, which is good. We have said that it is not bad in entirety, but then we are missing an element of relationship. That if you get an A, I'll buy you, a bike or whatever. If you get E1, that is exceeding expectation one, then we'll be able to go to Dubai or Diani for holiday. And it looks good, but then it makes people to be very transactional. It looks like a give-take kind of a relationship. And that is not what we want for the future. Because what if it gets to a time where there is nothing you can give them, like when they are now adults? They have their own job, they can pay their own rent, they can do whatever they need to do with their money. What is the give take at that point? And that's why it is important that then you build a relationship with them. So this provides structure and provides clarity. There is good structure. There is this and that. The rules are known. There is no testing of boundaries. Everyone is clear on what is expected. But remember, we are saying the transactional kind of relationship, parenting, lacks the element of building a relationship, the element of seeking to understand before you understood, the element of emotional safety, the element of emotional availability for your child. So the risk then, you limit intrinsic you limit intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation, I mean motivation that comes from inside, because the rules, the boundaries, the transaction means there is external or a external motivation, that I am doing this because mom will. What if they come to the point where the rules do not stand any further? When they are young adults, when they have left the nest, when they are out there, what will keep them motivated? Then it means we have to be able to build values, build a basis for that. But also, it fosters anxiety. A child that is brought up in a transactional home is very anxious. What if I miss the mark? What if I don't do well in exams? I know there are kids that will tell me, you know what? I know my mom will beat me. I know I have dropped. I have done this. I broke my phone. I did this. And you can see the anxiety that it comes with when they know that they are living in a transactional kind of a home. But also, it builds dependence on external rewards. That for a kid to do something, for them to probably spread their bed, for them to clean the dishes, for them to just like take their cup out of from the table, they have to ask, mom, utanipea nini? Nikifanya hivi utanipea nini? And you see lots of that transaction. Wanawambia, can you help clean the board? They're like, teacher, utanipea nini? Utanipea sweet. And you see that has been modeled from home. And that is not it. Because life in itself is not just give and take. It's not that every other time you are doing life, I have to give you something to take something. Every other time, at times life requires us to contribute first. At times life requires us to give first before we receive later. And not necessarily the person that we give to will be able to give to us every other time. At times, some of the actions we do, there are seeds for a future harvest that we may not necessarily harvest right now. So it is important that we are thinking about transactional kind of parenting. Then we can see what can we do better. How can we build intrinsic motivation? How can we build a relationship? I have a question for all of us. Rewards uh do you think rewards help kids in the long run, or do they create dependency? And I would want you to put that on the comment box. Do you think rewards help kids in the long run, or do they create dependency? And I think that could be something that will be important for us to discuss. So we have looked at transformational parenting or transformative parenting, looked at transactional parenting. The third kind of parenting is the laissez-faire parenting. And laissez-faire is it's a French word for hands off or minimal guidance or high freedom. So this is a parent that allows the kids to be kids and do whatever they are whatever they do, not even whatever they are supposed to do. So it is hands off. It is minimal guidance, minimal help. You let them be. Oh, he's a teenager. Let them do whatever they are doing. But that in itself, again, has its own pros and cons as we will look at. So the key traits for laissez-faire kind of parenting, one is a lot of independence. The kids are left from their own, and at times at a very young age, for them to be able to just do their own things. And there is a lot of burning of fingers. And burning of fingers, I mean, because no one tells you this is wrong, the kid will go ahead, probably touch a hot cooker, and they get burned. And it even goes into some other decision. They will try out relationship, they will try out drugs, and they burn their fingers a lot because there is a lot of independence, a lot of them being on their self. But we know the reason why they are children, or the reason why they are teens and young adults, what reason why they are your children, is because they need guidance. They need to be guided. And I tell parents, even myself, and even all of us in this room, and even other older adults who have parents, they need to be guided. I do not know everything. There are things I sit down with my old man, my dad, and he's able to guide me. He's able to tell me, do this, don't do this. There is slippery, there, take time. Need to pray about this. You may want to consider this. You may want to look at this in a different way. That is important for all stages of life. But for the laissez-faire kind of parenting, then the kid is left to be on their own. The teenager are left to do whatever they are doing. Probably the parent works somewhere else. The kid has an apartment where they stay, and no one knows who comes into the house, who leaves the house, or whatever. So that is the laissez-faire kind of parenting. So independence, but then they're also left to be creative, and creativity is not a bad thing. And I feel like this is something that all these other parenting styles can borrow from. But if we have left them to overcreate, to overindulge in creativity such that they invent, bad habits and everything, then there is a problem. But also this could foster self-direction. And as I've said, all these parenting styles have their own strengths and weaknesses. For instance, I grew up in the village. There are people who didn't have parents. Probably their mother died, their father died, and they used to live with their grandmothers. But they chose, because I do not have someone to take care of me. And of course, when grandmothers are raising kids, they do not have the energy to follow them up. But we had kids who decided, I know where I am coming from, I know my background, I am choosing to be a hardworking son. I'm choosing to be a hardworking boy, and they would work hard. Every other time from class 1, class 2, you would hear their name being mentioned, and you pass at their home, you would see the level of abject poverty, the level of no one is in the home. They get from school, prepare, go look for vegetables, prepare their own meals, go to the portion meal, because where I come there are portion meals, and do that. And they were able to do that by their own, and they turned out to be self-directed kids. And that could be an advantage for one who is parented with this kind of parenting. But remember, not most of the kids are self-motivated. Not most of them have intrinsic kind of motivation. So a parent who lets the child to decide bedtime or study habits, you allow them to decide when to use their screens or not to use their screen, and you tell them, others say, shauri yako, ukiamka mtihani ni shauri yako, and it looks good at some point, but then at times these teenagers do not understand what kuanguka mtihani means. What does that mean in the long run? So it is important that you help them do that. For the benefit of this is it encourages a lot of independence, and at times a lot of problem solving. But also, when they are not able to solve the problems, it means they are getting into trouble. They are getting troubled over and over again. So we can pick some good things from this laissez-faire kind of parenting. So what are the risk? You risk lack of boundaries. You risk a lot of confusion. You risk a lot of poor discipline. You risk a lot of your kids indulging in very very abnormal behavior, very queer character, you risk raising a very wild child because they were not tamed, they were not domesticated. Rules are important for domestication. Expectations are important for domestication. And domestication here, I mean them knowing this is how to grow. This is how I can grow up as a responsible child. So, do you think um laissez-faire kind of parenting has more goods than wrongs? Do you think it has more benefits than more losses? I would want you to put that on the comment section and let us be able to discuss. So we have looked at the transformational kind of parenting. We have looked at the laissez-faire kind of parenting and the transactional uh, kind of parenting. As we bring this to a close, I would want to compare these three types of parenting and see what we can pick from each of them. So, for the transformational kind of parenting, one of its strength in terms of this, the strength around it is transformational parenting is growth oriented. We want this teenager, we want this young adult, we want this child to be able to be an adult who is responsible, one who is able to make choices and choices that we can trust and choices that are responsible. We want to raise a responsible adult, one who will be able to take care of us, when we are getting to our evening years, because we have our morning years, we have our afternoon years, and we have our evening years. And morning years could mean somewhere between 0 to around early 20s. That's morning when you're growing up doing school. And then afternoon, it's when you're trying to raise your own family, career and everything. And then the evening years, it's when people get to over 60, retire, and you just want to be at home. You enjoy playing with grandkids and everything. So we want our children to be able to be growth oriented, but one who is also to be responsible, one that is able to bring up future parents and continue the legacy of the family. So that is the strength of transformational parenting. But transactional parenting, it has a strength also, and the strength here is it is rule oriented. So lots of rules, and we have said rule in itself in themselves are not bad, but if we can't build ethics, if we can't build intrinsic values that inform the being, informing the doing, then it becomes tough for that child, because they will come to a point where they overgrow the rules, or where rules are not, where mom cannot get to. Like now on campus, when they are not able to be told, wake up, do this, save, don't save, where are you going, where did you sleep? If they do not have that intrinsic values and motivation, then it means transactional parenting is limited in itself. But laissez-faire then provides freedom. It's freedom oriented, a lot of freedom for them to choose, and that can help them to be responsible. As I have given an example of kids who grew up with just a grandmother, and they knew this life depends on them, and they worked hard. They grew up to be responsible. Some what we call parentification. Some chose to be responsible at a very early age. Some decided that because my parent is not available, I'll take care of the other kids. And they started growing responsible. And there are people who say that has something to do with a trauma response or something like that. But the truth is, we are able to look at that in a very positive way. So laissez-faire parenting is a lot of freedom, and freedom is good, but freedom without responsibility is catastrophic. Freedom without responsibility is catastrophic. We want to help our kids to be able to not only be growth oriented, but not only know that there are rules, but also know that freedom is an opportunity for them to be responsible. After they have left the nest, after they went to campus, after they have become grown up and adults, are they able to take care of their own self? Are they able to do what they are supposed to do? I don't know which style do you lean towards as a parent, and how does that shape your child's growth? I don't know if you're leaning on the transformative side, or you're leaning on the transactional side, or you're leaning on the laissez-faire kind of parenting, but it is important that you are able to pick on what is important. Dear parent, my desire for you is for you to aim at being a transformational parent. as your foundation, that being your bedrock. You want to build a relationship with this kid. You want them to have intrinsic values. You want them to have intrinsic motivation. But also to have a sprinkle in transactional discipline. A sprinkle means that being part of that, because rules, we said, are important, and rules at an early stage means love. A child that is allowed to just come home anytime wonders why do their parents not care. But one that is told, you know what, the curfew is at this time, understands, you know what, my child, my mom really cares. But as well as you have the foundation as transformative or transformational, and with a sprinkle of transaction in terms of discipline, I would want you to allow some freedom, but with guidance. Freedom that is guided. So if you hear from this statement, it is to say we can pick from these three types of parenting and see the good from this other, the low-lying fruits from this, all this, and come up with a mashup, or come up with a cocktail of a parenting style that knows when to be transactional and knows when to allow a bit of freedom. I would want you to try one transformational practice this week. I want you to try affirming your child's effort instead of just the outcome. I would want you to appreciate the process. I want you to give feedback. Instead of saying that was wrong, say that I love that you gave it a try, but you can be able to do better. Don't tell them, why do you bring below expectations in agriculture. Tell them, I see the efforts you're putting in agriculture, but I know you can do better. Let me know what I can do to support you. And that sounds better than telling them, you know what, kwani niliuza ng'ombe nipeleke sijui ingine shule. That does not help in its essence. That does not help in its essence. It is labeling. It is making them feel so bad. So I would want you to try this. Try affirming your child. Try building a foundation of transformational kind of parenting. I would want you to allow them freedom, but then let them know freedom comes with responsibility. Allow them to make some decisions on their own, but then let them know choices have consequences. With that, you are able to build such a kind of a cocktail parenting style, one that does not overlean on one side, one that knows how to contextualize its practice and its application, so that in the long run you are able to be proud. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, train up a child the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. And I tell parents that if you know that you did your part in training and bringing up a child the way they should go, and peradventure they turn out the way you didn't expect them to turn out, it is not your problem. You did your part. You have the integrity that I did what I'm supposed to do. Because at some stage, parents cannot no longer continue making choices for their children. Like now, for my age, my dad can't keep telling me, do this, don't do this. I should have built my own value system to use that for decision making. And at times parents come to me, cry and say, you know what, this guy is into alcoholism, this guy is now in rehab, I have done my best. And I tell them, don't cry more than the bereaved. Don't cry more than the bereaved. Matanga si yako. And I know that is easily said than done, because we have an attachment. This is your own blood. But for how long would you continue crying? For how long will you continue weeping? I know you have worked so hard to build that wealth. You have worked so hard to build the life that you have. When it's coming to your retirement age, instead of sitting back, enjoying and relaxing, then you are following up on a 30-year-old who have not decided to build a life for themselves. I pray that you shall get the peace when you have done your part to be able to allow choices and consequences, the law of sowing and reaping, to take its course, because it is important for you not to cry more than the bereaved. I hope this blesses your heart. I hope this changes your mind. And I hope this gives you insight and ability to be able to reinforce and see what you are able to do better. Because as we always say, if you know better, then you are able to do better. Please subscribe, share, and let people know about this podcast. And we desire that every week we'll continue to bring you content that is transformative, content that is educative, and one that is able to support you. My name is Ebenezer. I'm the director at Eben Consultancy, and we do lots of programs around families, schools, and the community and corporates. You can reach us out on 0729 or check out our website on www.ebenconsultancy.com, and you are able to see some of our programs. And we are glad to bring these sessions to your school, to bring this session to your church and your areas of worship, to your community, to bring our mental health conversations to corporates and every other space. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video. Till next time, all the best. Be the best.